For 1,000 generations, the Valari had looked to the stars for every breath, every heartbeat, every decision. Their cities shimmered like silver rivers beneath alien constellations, each tower aligned to distant pulses of starlight. To them, the stars were gods, silent judges that decreed when to harvest, when to mourn, when to bring life into the world or send it gently back into the void. Even their language was written in constellations, a quiet poetry of dots and lines. They believed passion was a curse that disrupted the cosmic order, that warmth was dangerous and rebellion a sin against the luminous patterns above. The greatest honor a Valari could achieve was to become a star-seer, one who sat in silent meditation, interpreting new arrangements in the endless night. When the first human ship, rusted, scarred, humming with raw energy, pierced the edge of Valari space, the priests saw it as an omen of ruin. They tried to hide it from the people, warning that these sunborn would bring noise and fire, that their warmth would set hearts aflame and disrupt the sacred silence. But Captain Elijah Hale had never feared the dark. His shuttle landed on the moon of Kaishal, a pale sphere worshipped as the heart of Valari prophecy. The people gathered, cloaked in robes that shimmered like liquid starlight, trembling at the sight of this small, fragile being stepping out alone with nothing but a torch burning in his gloved hand. The high priestess approached, her eyes black as the abyss between galaxies. "Why do you come, Sunborn? You carry a flame. You must extinguish it, or the stars will turn their gaze and smite us all." Elijah looked up at the constellations above, rigid, beautiful, cold, and smiled. "I carry this fire because you've forgotten what it means to burn from within. You've surrendered your spirit to the sky. I didn't come to steal your stars. I came to remind you that you are more than silent shapes in the dark." The priestess recoiled, as though his words themselves were sparks. The Valari began to murmur, ripples of emotion, fear, awe, longing, moving through them like wind over still water. Elijah knelt and pressed the torch into the moon's frosty surface. The ice hissed and shrank away, revealing bright moss below, an ancient, hidden life they had never dared to touch for fear of angering the constellations. In that single act, he showed them that warmth did not always mean destruction. A young Valari girl stepped forward, her hands trembling. She asked in a voice softer than starlight, "What does it feel like, to live without permission from the stars?" Elijah stood and placed the warm handle of the torch into her grasp. "It feels like dancing in the rain without asking the sky first, like crying out when your heart breaks, and laughing until your voice shakes the air around you. It feels like being alive, not just existing to please distant lights." The priest screamed for the stars to strike him down. But the stars remained silent, cold, distant, unmoving. For the first time, many Valari saw that the heavens had never truly listened. The girl held the torch high, its glow reflecting in her endless eyes. The warmth spread into her thin limbs, and she shivered with sudden delight. More Valari stepped forward, hesitant at first, then drawn by the glow. Fingers reached out to feel the heat, chests heaved with new breaths. A young warrior approached, tearing off his ceremonial star map robe, revealing scars that no one had dared to speak of. He pressed his forehead to the flame and wept, each tear sizzling on the mossy ground. "We were taught to fear ourselves," he sobbed. "But we are more than shadows under the stars." The high priestess fell to her knees, hands clawing at the sky as though demanding an answer. But the stars gave none. Elijah gathered them close. "You were never meant to be silent statues. You were meant to sing, to shout, to shape your own constellations inside your hearts." That night, 1,000 fires bloomed across Kaishal. They lit bonfires along the frozen lakes and danced for the first time, singing to each other rather than to distant dots of light. Songs and new voices rose to the sky, bright and defiant. The stars did not collapse. The world did not end. Instead, something miraculous happened. The Valari began to live. They crafted new stories that were no longer dictated by cosmic alignments, but by their own joys and sorrows. They fell in love without first consulting the constellations, named their children after feelings rather than celestial formations, and embraced warmth not as a threat, but as a gift. Elijah never claimed a throne or demanded devotion. He walked among them as a friend, laughing beside their fires, sharing crude human jokes that made the once serene Valari collapse in joyous confusion. Generations later, long after Elijah's own light had returned to the void, the Valari would point to their bright, bustling cities and say, There is where the stars first learned to listen to us." And on the moon of Kaishal, a single eternal flame still burned, a torch in a quiet shrine, guarded not by priests but by children who had never known a world without laughter or warmth. For in the end, it was not the stars that changed them. It was a single human walking into the night with a fire, showing them that they had always carried that spark within.